going on?
What's up, man?
Episode 4.
Yes, sir.
Here we are in the snowy Rochester. This weather sucks. This weather sucks. I don't like this weather.
For some reason, we choose to still live in this freaking state.
Yeah, I'd like to be somewhere down south right now.
Old
Q
beer
fan. No,
it is a
fucking sucks. Really.
Yeah, it's a solid. Let's see,
35 degrees probably.
Oh yeah, it's a solid 28 degrees outside. 28.
Is it still snowing? I don't see it.
Oh, it's snowing.
I don't see the snow. I mean, it's dark. Oh yeah, it's snowing.
It's snow.
Got the Comanche here. It's gonna be fun. Oh, it's the first time this one's ever been on film.
Oh yeah.
I broke it in the other day. It was really good the other day, actually. It's 10 coats of mineral oil on this fucking thing. It took me like 5 days to do.
Brand new homemade ashtray.
Yeah.
By yours truly.
Yeah, it's it was kind of a vision of mine when I wanted to do this whole thing, and I was looking on, like, I don't know, I was just cruising through. I know it sounds like really not what a guy would do my age, but I was cruising through Pinterest.
So what?
They got some cool shit in there.
They do.
And it just so happened that it filtered cigar stuff in there, and excuse me, and some of these ashtrays that looked similar to the one that I built was they were really cool. So I was just like, why don't I fucking do this? If somebody else can do it, I can do it.
What'd you use for the wood there?
This is actually made out of the same stuff that this table is made out of. It's 200-year-old maple out of a barn that was used for framing back in whatever 200 years ago it was.
Yep.
And it's really, really difficult to work with because it's so hard.
Yeah.
And actually, when I was doing the burning technique on it, you can hear the wood cracking. Because it's so old, it's never seen that kind of heat before.
Yeah, not for a long time.
Not for a very long time. And
yeah, the table came out mint too.
the table came out really, really good. When we get our own place, we're doing a table similar to this.
Yes.
Taking this out, which is really annoying. But this is a workbench, so I mean it's whatever. That was the smoothest cut I have ever had. I watched a few videos before we came on here, and actually, previously this week I watched the one with the RS2 on Doug's video.
Oh yeah, I actually just watched that
This
tonight.
blue, I think it's a 92?
Or 90. 90 or 92 Audi RS2 Avant?
Avant, yeah.
Avant.
It's like, that's the
One of the most rare cars.
most powerful station wagon style
Yeah.
vehicles ever.
For its time. I mean, what a great choice. What a great car. One of my personal dream cars, along with the actual Audi Group B Quattro itself.
The coupe.
Yeah. What was really cool actually watching Doug's video is the majority of that car is actually made by Porsche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what amazed me.
It has Porsche brakes, and it has the emblems. All of them have incorporated Porsche logos in them, and
that really
just goes to show you how good Porsche is.
It really did surprise me though, because I haven't really looked into those cars too much. You never really see them, besides on YouTube, or unless you live in the United Kingdom or anywhere in Europe where you can get one legally.
You can't really get one here that old because they were European. They were never an American car.
No. And just like Doug did, he actually imported it to the United States and
cost him like $70,000.
Yeah,
not up my alley. it's not really worth $70,000.
I mean, if I had $70,000 to dump, now depending on what your true heart and passion is for whatever car you want or whatever, get what you want. It's just like the people that import the R33 Skylines. It's just like, I don't know. They're cool cars.
They're really, really cool. I want an R32.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want an R32.
It's just the only thing about importing cars into the country is the import tax on them is extremely freaking high.
Well, yeah, because they're trying to make their money off it.
Like Doug did. I mean, that's such a beautiful example that he's got too.
It's that car's pristine.
Yeah,
That
and
car's in mint condition.
regardless of whatever, it could be a collector's car. Throw a little bit of mods onto it. Use everything that's aftermarket, but Audi provided.
I don't think you can get tuning for that car.
Oh,
can you?
Oh yeah. If you actually look up some videos, there's Audi RS2s.
Is it new enough?
Well, people build stuff for it, like engines and stuff. They do. The biggest thing is built heads to allow the engine to rev higher. That makes it sound like a true like Lamborghini, which is really really cool.
And that's an 8, correct?
No, 5-cylinder turbo.
What was I?
That was
the one after it.
You're thinking of like our buddy.
Yeah, that was the one after it.
Yeah,
or it came out close to it.
Yeah, that Audi right there, the RS2 or any of the S line or the S2, S1, whatever.
Those cars are insane.
They were pretty underrated cars out of the factory. At least a lot of people saw them as that until a lot of the modding started coming out. I mean, all you need on those cars, pistons and rods from the bottom, crank bottom up, whatever. You don't have to do anything to the block. Just throw a set of beefy pistons. I mean, you gotta hone it, get some new sleeves and stuff, but you don't have to go crazy with honing like everything. I mean, you could even throw on a built head, a bigger turbo kit, like a big single turbo kit, some couplers, a front mount intercooler and all that, and you can make a solid 600 horsepower.
Yeah, it's funny.
Or even 500. I mean, the car weighs 2,900 pounds.
It's light.
For
a wagon, it's light, but it's small. It's a small wagon. It's not like a Ford Fairmont wagon where it's like a blue whale.
5,000 pounds of pure ass moving, but
no, but it's funny because in Doug's video he said that Audi back when they were making those cars, they were a like cookie cutter, like a very low end car. People saw them as a low end budget vehicle. Yeah. Not like a Beamer or a Mercedes.
Well, even BMW had some of their touring wagons, but
they had the M5 touring.
They did.
It's a crazy car.
And as crazy as it seems, a lot of these wagons or whatever, these newer Audis and stuff that people buy have actually turned into full-blown. People turn them into full-blown race cars. They make them freaking street cars, everything. And I mean, you look at some of these cars and it's just an Audi. Until it starts to get going, and then it's like, holy shit. That's why, like, even on my M5, one thing I've always wanted to do to it, which I probably will never, is put 528i badges on it. And or just get 528 fenders, everything. Or just change the fenders, everything, make it look like the regular inline 6 or twin turbo. And,
so stupid.
Oh my god, people would just be like, what the heck?
Blow people's minds.
It would be like, dude, you put a V10 in that? And it's like, nope, just change the fenders.
No, but I never actually watched the full video on the RS2. I only watched it really because I saw it and I remembered when I used to play Forza Horizon 2 that they had those cars in the game and I recognized the color on it. And I'm like, is that the RS2?
You know what came did it for me? That I was thinking of ever since I watched that video was Forza Horizon 3.
Horizon 3 is really good.
The Group B rally car, the Audi. Well, at least I think it's owned by the Audi Group now. But Group B used to be one of the best freaking rally teams, at least in the entire country. I mean,
those guys were
for their class, competing with Lancias and everything else. I mean, even top Volkswagens and all the cars like that today. I mean, they turned it up going from a manual transmission to sequential.
Yeah.
That Audi's scary. I mean, 800 horsepower, 6-speed sequential, and being able to do 0 to 150 in what seems like nothing. I mean, nothing. And
it's funny because I was actually, I don't know why, it sparked my interest, but in Horizon 3, I had a 1996 or 92 Renault Alpine. I can't remember. I think it's Alpine. And I remember doing a bunch of mods to the car, and I kid you not, when you went to go to the airstrip to go drag this
the little Alpine?
No. It wasn't the blue one. It was the newer one. It was the 90s generation coupe hatch, hot hatch.
Yeah.
But it was long. It was actually a pretty
I thought you were talking about the old 62 Alpine.
And there, believe it or not, I was looking on YouTube after
they're actually
They're a well-built car.
Not only that, but they're actually affordable too.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're like $20,000
for somebody that can afford one.
And they're rare too.
With the import tax, it's a legal car.
They're
was
pretty
crash
rare.
tested.
At
least,
let me tell you, the interiors are different because they're French. Everything French is different.
Yeah, it's neat for sure.
It is very, very different. Not something that, like, let's just say I got one and I was driving it around here. Absolutely nobody would know what it is.
No, you know what everybody would think? Oh, it's just a Porsche or something. Nope.
Close, but
no, it kind of gives that remnants.
It kind of gives off those Porsche 911 vibes.
It's not really what, I don't know. It's definitely a cool car.
It's actually, believe it or not, it's one of my dream cars. Ever since I found it in Forza Horizon and I did the mods to it, I kid you not, off the line I couldn't get grip with this car because it was in the game you can like swap out different engines and transmissions and drivetrains and stuff, and I put a V12 in it. That's why I couldn't get any grip, but like I loved driving that car in that game so much. I'm just like I'm gonna own one of these one day.
Well, one of the cool things about at least, well, I'm going back to Audi. It's one of my dream cars, like the S2. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to get an Avant. I don't think I'd ever buy an Avant. One, really? Because I love the wagon style, but I don't know. It's a rare car, and being that it's that rare, having one in the United States, modifying it just wouldn't be correct to me. It'd be more of a collector's car.
Well, but yeah, I can see that.
At least that's the standpoint I come from. You know, and it's not that it would piss everybody else off. I can give a shit less what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I cut the whole car in half if anybody would say shit. But I think it's just nice to have as a collector's piece. And then what I would do is I'd buy just a regular S2, like the old hatch style S2.
Yeah. It's
just like a Fox body Mustang in Switzerland.
Pretty.
Or Sweden, one of the countries. They have a shit ton of them. And
what was another? What the hell was it? The Lancia Delta Stratos, the hot hatch. That was also a rally car. That car is on my list for one of my top favorite European vehicles. The Lancia Delta is a beautiful car.
Oh, yeah,
not very reliable by any standpoint, but the way that those cars were designed and the way that those cars, I don't know what it is about them that appeals to me, with the dual lights in the front and just that aggressive grille that looks like an Audi grille, but it's not. And then you've got the hot hatch. That's one of my favorite categories of cars, is hot hatch. I absolutely love. One of my favorite cars is the Ford Focus RS. It is one of the last hot hatches in production.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say this.
It's actually not in production.
Do I know where?
They discontinued it.
Do I know where we're going to go with the future of cars and stuff? Yes. Everything's going to go electric, or hybrid, or whatnot. Obviously, you're going to still have your sports cars, which now are going to be twin turbo V6s, turbo 4-cylinders. I mean, you still might have like the Ferrari, the twin turbo 4.4, or the 4.8, or the 4-liter, or the 3.8. You know,
yeah,
it can still, you can still get a V8. It's just not going to sound like the old school American muscle V8.
No, it won't.
Or the new school aggressive, like Corvette Camaro, not the LT. It's not going to sound like that. It will never sound like that anymore. Not after 10 years. Or maybe after 10 years.
I don't know. It's Dodge is getting away with some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, but Dodge just sees a car and says, fuck it. We're throwing a big old supercharged V8 in it and calling it a day.
But, you would think that they would get hammered on emissions, but they don't.
Well, that's because they load the shit out of the emissions. As long as you can be compliant with emissions, you can do anything to a car. Say if Dodge wanted to. All right, let's make a twin-turbo hubcap. And let's make it all-wheel drive.
Well, yeah,
let's make it 1,000 horsepower. What else? Yeah, and this is how they make it emissions legal. 6 catalytic converters. Anything that can restrict as much flow as possible that we always take off our cars. There's your freaking...
It's not very hard to take them off.
No, you just start... Yeah, it's just like that meme on Facebook. So anyway, I just started cutting. No. It's stuff like that. As long as the company can make it legal enough or at least emissions friendly, then the company will come up with whatever the hell they want. Which is it's actually a pretty cool thing that Dodge is actually doing.
They're doing it with the Durango, and I think that's hilarious.
I think it's cool to put a Hemi or Hellcat and everything because one, that's the thing that people don't understand. It's a direct swap in for them. They all they have to come up with is motor mounts, a way to make the engine work. Literally same ECU out of the thing. They change a few coding things to say whatever the make and model of that vehicle is.
And the drivetrain.
Drivetrain, pair a VIN to it, and now you got a SRT Durango Hellcat minivan. Yes.
And it's funny because like they really, when they first started getting into that, they really only put Hemis in cars. But then they made the Hellcat and the Demon, and then they were just like, oh wait,
here's what it was.
We could put these in all of our cars.
Dodge, I think, started looking at the above companies, stuff like that, or I think what actually really set it off for Dodge, since one of the best American brands, along with Chevy and Ford.
I think that they were scared of the Corvette.
I think they were scared of the Corvette, but I think they also saw that since people were taking Hellcat motors, because Hellcat motors, you can do E85, pulley.
They put them in Jeeps.
Well, you do. Well, the Gladiator, but what people do is they take E85, a bigger or smaller upper pulley, bigger crank pulley, a few other little knickknacks here and there. You know, you got catless header, stuff like that, and you can laugh and make like 800 wheel, like true wheel, not 800 crank, 800 true wheel horsepower. And what they're seeing is that people are taking them and even swapping them. Actually, I've seen a swap online into like a RX-7, an FD, like a really, really rare car. And everybody goes, "Oh, you're destroying it." It's like
those are light.
You can import them.
And those are, he must have.
Well, it's people that do that, or they slap them in a Miata, Corvette. And there's people that are putting these motors and everything. And I think Dodge, since they seen that, they were like, okay, instead of having somebody take a project truck, like an old Dodge Brothers truck, well, that might be too old. So let's just say
like a D150.
Yeah,
first-gen Cummins.
Let's say a first-gen Cummins. Say they said, screw it. We don't want the Cummins anymore. We don't want no diesel crap. You know, I mean, rolling coal's cool and all. Don't get me wrong. And you got a lot of power. Don't get me wrong, cool. But then people are like, okay, something fuel efficient. It's literally modern everything. You can even swap an entire dash out of a Hellcat now.
Yeah.
Into there, have full AC, everything, and you can put it into something. I mean, that's the nice thing about Dodge is that their motors. Now, yes, if you cut into the wiring harness, you're gonna have a shit show. But if you don't, their wiring harness, I think Dodge honestly has one of the easiest motors to swap in. Like, I'll be completely honest.
I think the LS is pretty easy too.
Nah, the LS is just a small block 350 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You can throw that thing in anything. You want to throw it in Granny's hearse? Throw it in Granny's hearse.
No, what do you call it? I think they really, they were sitting around at a meeting. I can, imagine this in my head. And they were just like, all right, we have the Dodge Charger and the Dodge Challenger. How can we make it faster? And they did. They made the Hellcat and they made the Demon and they made both cars faster.
Yeah, they made them faster.
And they banned it from the NHRA.
and then they took a look at all their new lines of cars that were coming
the Durango and the
which now, yes, the SRT that they have is a 5.7 liter, or not the 5.7. That's just the regular Hemi's package. But if you get the Scat 3, they have a package for every
Scat pack, yeah.
You get the 392, the 390, 490, whatever it is now. You get the 6.1's the 392, and the 6.4 I think is the 496.
Yes.
You can get anything now, which is crazy. And then they look at those and they're like, oh yeah, just put one of those in a supercharged motor. Now we got a car.
Now we have a Hellcat. And then, I can't wait for the Durango Hellcat to come out though, because you have the Trackhawk. The Trackhawk is a Chrysler vehicle with a Hellcat engine in it, and it weighs just as much as the Durango, if not a little bit less, I'd say. People don't realize the Cherokee's actually pretty heavy for how small it is.
Yeah.
But it has to be for standards.
I see that everybody did the Gladiator with the...
I don't like the Gladiator, though.
They're cool, but they're not.
They're a little on the ugly side.
I actually seen a 6.4 swapped Gladiator in person. Our buddy Dylan out of Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
He...
I like the Gladiator, but I don't. I have a love-hate relationship with that truck.
I put it this way. Even with the Hellcat motor, it moves, but it's not... I'm sorry, but Jeep was just trying to make a truck. That's not a truck.
That's not a truck. that's something
sorry.
that
If you're gonna get a truck, get a 1500 or 2500 Dodge or Chevy.
Yeah.
Even
the F-150 is good.
Yeah, the F-150 looks like an F-250 now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have seen the new Ford Ranger. It looks like a 07, 08 Triton.
Yeah, it's actually pretty big.
The new Ranger makes an F-150
look tiny,
and that amazes me. That actually really impresses me.
It's all body styling marketing. It's all.
That actually really impresses me, which I was very surprised by.
And I got to drive a new Colorado, and I like them. I love the new Colorado. Beside the fact,
the new Colorado's nice.
Beside the fact, compared to its predecessor, the
old 5-cylinder turds. Let me tell you,
those trucks were so bad.
The older Colorados were the worst trucks. I mean, they had the hub bolted to the rotor.
Yeah.
You had everything that was just wrong. I believe the Colorado was a test truck. They were just like, shit, we need to put something out. Here we go.
Yeah. Because the S10 wasn't a thing anymore.
And then they.
I wish they just continue the S10.
And they actually produced.
The S10 was a legend.
They actually produced the new Blazer, which is technically the S10, but then they came out.
It's a short wheelbase Traverse. If you really think about it, I've actually ridden in one.
We drove a bunch.
And
they're not. I'll put it this way: the new Blazers are cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. What he said is true, and they also look like
they're nice to drive.
Well,
they're a short wheelbase Traverse.
They also look like a Lamborghini Urus. No.
I think Chevy kind of just said shit when the Bronco came out because they put the Blazer badge on a crossover SUV, which is not what the Blazer used to be. The Blazer was a utilitarian, 2-door,
full
frame truck.
Don't get me wrong, the unibody stuff is cool.
It is, but
I'm glad they haven't made any trucks really like that. I think
I'm glad they have.
No, there's no trucks like that. Actually, Dodge has a Ram 1500. I believe it's the new 2021, where the front of it is actually unibody.
No, the mini trucks.
That's
the mini trucks are unibody because you can't really build a frame for one of them things because they're so small.
Let's see.
And what I mean by mini truck is like the Suzuki Carryall. You've got the Subaru.
And what I was going to say about the
I can't remember what the other models are, but no, like I'm glad that trucks. I don't think safety and standard wise you can go unibody with trucks in some SUVs because they're so big. You need the support.
What is it? No. Well, yes, but
you need the support and you need the structure. There's no structure with unibody really.
Coming back to the Colorado though. Amazing truck.
Yeah, the older ones were decent for a work truck.
I'm talking about the newer ones.
I know. The older ones were decent for a work truck, so are the newer ones.
They make the new ones with the 3.6 liter V6, which is your average. Or I think you can get it in, well, now that they make the ZR2, which is their off-road package or whatever.
I love the diesel one.
It's pretty cool they made it in a diesel, but at the end of the day, even for a base model Colorado,
it's a lot of money.
Simple lift kit, 6-inch lift kit, 34s on there. There's so many aftermarket things like the Baja rack in the back.
You get the tire in the back too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things that you can add to it to make the truck look absolutely killer. And that little 3.6 liter,
they probably get up and go.
That little 3.6 liter has a heart, man.
Yeah.
I actually seen somebody do an aftermarket intake on them. There's actually one that came in that was tuned, and let me tell you, dude, those little trucks rip. Now, yeah, they're not going to be the fastest thing in the world.
And it's funny if you really think about it. Anybody's, like the big three, have all have their 3.6 V6, and they all kick ass. Dodge has theirs, and it's a pretty reliable engine. I wouldn't say it's powerful.
No.
Chevy's got theirs. Theirs is really powerful, believe it or not. And Ford's, I would have to say, is up there, number one. The Ford's 3.6 is really good.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of scary good.
Ford's 3.6 is good, but when they also add turbos, it becomes better.
Yep.
But
you put a turbo to anything, it becomes better.
I gotta say though that Dodge actually really took it away with their how is it now? You know what really impresses me though is those little Dodge darts. The newer darts.
I've never really struck interest.
We don't really get anything crazy about them. Now, yeah, you're wondering like, okay, how do we go from a '60s dart to a 2.4 liter? What the shit is that?
But they had to adapt with change.
No.
And if they were gonna build the dart again, it would have had to be something like that.
No. They shouldn't have.
That's my opinion.
You know what? They could have made a dart modernized, like looking like an El Camino or whatever. That's what the old dart kind of reminds me of. Yeah, they could do something like that, and they could make. Well, it's Dodge. They just throw a Hellcat in it. Mm-hmm. Hey, you drive a Dodge? Oh, guess what? It's coming with a Hellcat next year. Oh, your car doesn't have a Hellcat? Don't worry, they're making it next year.
No, I haven't had enough experience with the Dart to really judge it in any way. I think they're a very small car. But
they are, and I gotta say the GT models, which are actually manual, I think they were turboed. I know the NA ones.
They had a manual one?
Oh yeah, they make them brand new manual.
What speed is it? Is it
6-speed.
Oh. That's
cool.
I would drive
cool little cars, and actually something else to bring up. I know, getting completely off topic, jumping around, but dude,
That's what we do on here.
Yes, we had a 2000, I think it was 2008 or 2009 Chevy SS HHR, and
was it the panel?
No, it was the actual like sporterized edition of it. Had boost gauge, 6-speed or 5-speed manual, 2.4 turbocharged. I gotta say, for a little HHR.
This thing's probably good to go.
If it had a
is it turbo?
Yeah. If it had a good sized turbo on there, a good few bolt-ons and everything, I think that car would be a very fast car. Even taking it on a test drive to get the TPMS light to reset, I gave it a little and it went. I mean, I was able to roll through a few gears, but
it's funny because I watched Doug DeMuro's video on the SS panel, and it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, I would totally buy one of those things if I owned a shop and use it as a parts car.
I think what a lot of people actually don't know is that there's an Aveo SS.
Yeah.
Like
the Aveo, yeah.
Yeah, really, really
it's tiny.
And
it's like a Sonic.
The Aveo SS isn't. It's not turbocharged. It's NA. They came in manual. Whatever. They're the cheapest freaking Chevy you can actually buy.
Besides the Sonic.
Yes.
The Sonic's actually more expensive than the Aveo.
You know what? Let me check. I don't think they came out with a Sonic SS, but
no.
I can tell you if they did, it'd be a quite interesting car.
Yeah, I actually got the chance to drive one.
Let's see.
And
Chevy? Using Google for reference.
Believe it or not, like I put the Sonic.
Well,
they really make one.
Hold on. You know what it is? I think it's the Chevy Sonic RS.
Yeah, it's just a sport model.
I hate that they're doing that now. Making it's just an RS package. Like, no.
Yeah, the Cruise has the RS.
Oh, dang, they're already engaged.
No, I got the chance to drive a Sonic, and it was an older one, and I stuck it in assisted.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
An assisted auto. And like I started shifting through the gears, and when I was at a stoplight, I stuck it down in the first gear on the button, and I like brake boosted the thing, and the thing didn't lock up, or it locked up and it didn't spin really, and it felt like the front end of the car was like this. It was just pulling and pulling and pulling, and I was having the time of my life in that car.
What the hell did we have in a few days ago? We actually had a Subaru. It wasn't an STI. I think it was just a base. But I'm not gonna lie. I think a great daily driver. Like if you're looking for something manual fun. Now yeah, Subaru is a little bit up there, more in price, it's safety crap, whatever. Yeah. We don't believe in that. I gotta say, great car, but one little itsy bitsy problem.
A little pain to work on.
It's not that it's a pain. They kind of have the issue with the head gaskets, and regardless of whether you beat on it or not, eventually it's gonna go.
Oh yeah, that's great. You could say that for multiple different company vehicles. But the RS.
That is true. The RS actually has rod bearing.
Ford's got horrible head gasket problems.
Actually, the Ford Focus RS has terrible rod bearing failure.
Does it?
And believe it or not, after you start modding the shit out of it, I actually had a buddy that had a blue 17 Focus RS, and he had it over 400. I think it made like 448 wheel or something like that.
Holy shit.
That was that blue one I raced, and
yep.
That
thing only made 4.
Yeah, it was only because
the motor
was
light,
on. It had a stock block and stuff.
It's light though.
That's
why, and it's all-wheel drive.
It was scary watching it because he goes, "Yeah, when I did the last oil change, there was metal in the oil, and they had to pull the pan filter, pulled everything, and
bearings
they pulled one bearing. It was so bad. No, the bearing was just grooved. It still ran, and then he sold it to Ford. And whatever guy buys it,
I would have had it rebuilt.
Well, whatever guy buys it, it'll have warranty. So if it blows up, he just gets free motor.
I would have had to rebuild.
Yeah, but it's just weird. He sold everything with the aftermarket stuff. Like, can you imagine going to the dealer, buying a Focus RS, not even knowing it makes 400 horsepower, getting out on the road and being just being like, dude, this isn't freaking right. I find that one of the coolest things that you can actually go somewhere, and yeah, whatever, built not bought, but I find it cool when a dealer sells a car, they don't even know what the hell it has. You're looking through it, you're just like, holy shit. Say it's got like $20,000 in upgrades. The dealer doesn't know that. The car, say yeah, they're obviously going to market it above, price. So say there's a Mustang there with a Whipple supercharger, they didn't even realize that this and that. They put it up for 20 grand. It's only got 40,000 miles on it. Whatever. And that's not true. It'd probably be like 27 knowing Ford. Who cares about the price? That's a steal. You go get a dyno, thing puts down 770 wheel, and you're just like, damn, stole a car, used the extra money that you were gonna use to put 40 grand down in a Mustang, and you're gonna go buy the fuel kit and everything else, upgrade it even more, and make 1,000 horsepower. Like, I find that cool that you can find cars like that.
The one thing that I disagree with on the RS, an RS with like 20,000 miles on it is not worth 30 grand.
No,
it is not worth 30
for a
grand.
20.
You don't get a lot of car for 30 grand. Yes, they're powerful and you can make them really, really fast, but you can't really do anything else with them.
I think that's the problem with these newer cars like that.
They're just getting overpriced.
The little hot hatches. Like the Focus RS should have only been a $20,000 to $22,000 car brand new from the factory. With its performance, don't get me wrong, great. It's a track car at the end of the day, and you can make it a very, very fast car, but at the end of the day, it's just a Ford Focus.
It's a Ford Focus.
It's just got pretty badges. It's just got a souped up engine.
And it's got all-wheel drive
and a pretty paint job. But
yeah,
to me,
and a different drivetrain for all-wheel drive. But that's really all you get.
It doesn't. Yeah, the only thing between the ST and that, you get more power.
Yeah. The
drivetrain, the looks, and honestly, there really isn't anything else. No. The ST's got almost the same interior besides the Ricardo racing seats, which honestly, the Ricardo racing seats aren't really the most comfortable seats.
No, they're not. So when I got the chance to actually ride in one and sit in one, I detailed one at one point, and I noticed that they were like a really grabby car. And what I mean by grabby is like those Recaro race seats, I mean, they do exactly what they say they do. They're not race seats. They're just, those seats in the RS are really, really tight. The bolsters are really, really narrow. And for someone my size, there's not really a lot of room to mess around in that car. And I think that I would actually have a hard time shifting gears in that car. I've never driven one, but I've ridden in one, and I've sat and detailed one before.
The only thing that I struggle with the RS is how they actually do the power difference. You can be rolling at 40 miles an hour doing a race, and I'm not saying you're not gonna just use the RS to just race and do 40 rolls because that's just weird. You use the RS for everything, but sometimes when you get going, the RS it actually spins. It's 60 front, 40 rear, which just boggles my mind. It's just, and actually
really putting down that much power, probably not.
No, and just like the GTR, how they do it when you're doing a launch control, you can see a GTR do a burnout sometimes. And I'm not talking like the 3,000 horsepower AMS ones, but like even doing a launch control in the GTR, it's just like, holy shit, the back wheels spin
Yeah.
before the front. It's that 40 front, 60 rear power ratio that they do to help out with the car not being able to break axles, because if you do 50-50, you got a shot of just
breaking everything.
The car's just like, yeah, no. The drive shaft's like, I'm a head out. And then if you put it too much to the front, then the front transfer case is just gonna be like, just pray for me, hopes, dreams, and prayers.
Yeah.
I
would have to say another. I'm trying to think of some other hot hatches that I like.
What else is there? Actually, the Golf R. One of the most underrated cars, I'd say. I'd say Volkswagen in general is underrated. That people think, oh, they can't be fast in that. I mean, yeah, the old Mark IV Jettas. Let's be for real.
Yeah.
When you make 400 horsepower, cool, they move. Yeah, that's it. It's about as much horsepower as you get, unless you build the motor completely.
I like the old Rabbits and the old Golfs. I don't like the new ones.
Well, now what
the
they
new
do...
ones don't strike any interest for me.
Well, now what they do...
They're fast, but they don't strike any interest aesthetically for me.
Now what they do with the new GTI or Golf R is they could be freaking... I think there's somebody that did a hybrid turbo fuel system, this and that. If you get a 6-speed manual, you put a nice clutch in it, you get 550 wheel, 530, 550 wheel.
Oh, I just came up with one in my head.
Golf R is one of my favorite hot hatches, along with the RS.
You know what I would use for my daily? Like, if, let's say I had like a hot hatch collection, I would use literally a 2018 or 2017 Chevy Cruze hatch.
Yes,
they're so reliable.
Really cool cars.
They're really reliable.
Another hot hatch that
they're comfy.
really intrigues me.
They're really comfy.
Is the John Works Mini Cooper.
Oh yeah. I'm not a Mini Cooper fan, but they're cool.
I almost bought one, believe it or not, just to have. And
oh, I got another one.
They're interesting cars.
This goes along with Chevy. I would probably use this as a daily. The Toyota Matrix S.
Yes. Every car company's got a hot hatch. Every car company's got a sports car, except Toyota.
Hey, dude, the Supra, okay? Come on.
Whatever. What, the overpriced Camry?
Come on, the Toyota 86 is a great car.
Did you see the thing that...
It actually is a really good car.
Did you see the thing on Facebook with the Toyota 86 and the freaking BRZ? A Nissan Pathfinder has the same 0 to 60 as that.
It's kind of...
That's sad.
That's really sad. But you have to admit, though, the 86 they are great cars. They're really reliable cars.
Yeah, just like...
They're track monsters because they're nimble.
And
they're
like
light.
The BRZ.
And they have happy 4 cylinders and 6 cylinders.
No, they only come in 4. But
the Supra?
No, I'm talking about the BRZ and the 86.
We need to move this thing over here.
Problem with the Toyota and 86 is people try to tell me they're different.
They're the same thing as a BRZ
the same
or a Scion FRS. They really are.
That's what I think people don't know is that a lot of car companies actually get together and manufacture for a year. BMW and Toyota.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought?
A high-end
European car company
that's been around for ages.
To Japanese
cookie cutter daily drivers, and I mean they make performance cars, but
the Toyota and that went together. But if you look on the car and actually daily driven exotics in the video, where they took apart
the green Supra,
doing the new. I think they did a body kit on it or something.
Yep. They made it look like
you go
something
through
out
the
of Fast
car.
and Furious.
Window BMW. Oh, that air duct BMW. Oh. That front grille, BMW. Everything's got BMW stamped on. I think the only Toyota thing that was on that car were the wheel style.
Yeah. And the badging, really.
And the badging. Everything on that car was BMW. Now it was produced in the Toyota factory. Just like Doug's RS2 Avant, where it'll say Audi.
That's different.
Audi/Porsche.
That's different.
I think on that car on the VIN it actually says Toyota/BMW, which it's scary.
But the RS2 is different. That was a different time period when Audi didn't know what the hell they were doing when it came to a performance
Audi back in the day.
Wagon.
Now, Audi back in the day, we're talking 1929, when Audi first became a thing. It was actually known as the Auto Union Group, which was a buggy car that they took a World War II Berlin 16-cylinder motor out of a freaking airplane, threw it in there, and called it a car.
Yeah.
And it made, I think it made like 290 horsepower.
That's not much for a 16-cylinder engine.
Well, you gotta remember back in the day, it was nothing.
Yeah,
It was just big.
But most of those airplanes made like 300.
But then they had, I remember watching something on YouTube with a big car where the exhaust manifolds are like this big. It was like a 3-cylinder or something, and per cylinder it was like 50 horsepower. But the pistons are this big.
Oh my god.
And I don't know, a lot of the older cars amaze me. Like I'm talking like 29 and up, old school, trying to make race cars. Like the old Aston Martin or the Jaguar E or D type. I mean, that's 60s, but
Renault made a lot of really cool stuff.
Yep, there was.
Same with Lancia. Lancia
was a nice company. Even, going back as far as Ferrari and Lamborghini to the old GTO, I can't even think of some of their cars. There's so freaking many.
Yeah.
I think Ferrari's oldest car is 1942 or 1948. There was an old buggy car. But if you look at beyond the Italian sports cars and all that, now there's before like the big race between Lamborghini and Ferrari to, all right, let's see what the hell we can make.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna say this: Ferrari made a lot more track cars than Lamborghini.
Yep.
Lamborghini. I'm gonna say this: Lamborghini has the best street cars. I'd say Ferrari's got a few cool street cars, like the 488, the 458, stuff like that. Even the 360, 430, stuff like that.
The Bernetta, the hatch
style.
Oh,
the 355 Bernetta.
Yeah, that's a cool car.
Cool car. Had a very bad issue with the fuel rail where if it got too hot, the O-ring melted and then it leaked and the whole car burned down to the ground. Very easy, simple fix, and then you can have a fun car. Throw a nice F1 exhaust on it. Actually, that was the car. I think that was the car with the first F1 transmission, detuned F1 transmission. And oh my god, slowest.
It was detuned.
Slowest, pissest transmission in the world. But that was the first paddle shift. I believe that was one of the first paddle shift transmission cars to ever come out in 1995 or something like that. And yeah, such a cool freaking car.
Yeah. I would have to say their competitor is the Carrera GT.
Porsche?
The Carrera GT is insane.
Carrera GT came out in 05, so... The Carrera GT was the first...
Carrera GT is insane.
2005, no. That was actually one of the first Porsches ever, long base, I could say, mid-engine? No, that wasn't.
It's a mid-engine supercar.
It is, but, but Porsche has their Porsche 911, whatever. All their Porsches are freaking rear engine. Besides the, Panamera and the, what's the new one? The hell is it?
Cayman?
Yeah, those junk things. Porsche doesn't really do it for me. Besides the Carrera.
I like their really, really old 911 turbos, the 80s ones.
I like the old 911 turbos, but I also like the new Porsches, like the GT3 RS, the GT4. I love those cars just because of the appearance package that they do. They sound great. Mm-hmm. They're a performance car. They're meant for the track.
And they were meant for driving.
You can drive the balls out of them. Same with, just like these companies that...
these people buying these newer Porsches and stuff, it's not really about driving anymore for people. It's about, the fact that you have a supercar now, and if you have a supercar, that's... How do I put this? Aesthetically cool. I don't really know.
To me,
a lot of the buying of supercars now is just the statement piece of it. There's no driving involved.
I'm gonna say this: if you want to get a cool car, and if you're into old school classics, you know this. Yes, all the new shit's expensive. To even get a brand new sports car like a Camaro, your base price is already $35 and up. I'm talking 20, 21. The problem with those cars is everything's overpriced. You can wait 5 years and the thing will be freaking half off.
Yeah.
You look at. Now I'm going old school, American Muscle, like a '66 Impala. Mm-hmm. You got the Chevelle. You got the Nova. You got everything like that. You can even get a true SS car right now.
Malibu, that's fast.
Yeah, you can get a true SS car right now for 10, 11 grand. And yeah, now you may be thinking, back in the day, the car was only like 5,000, 6,000, brand new. You gotta remember, there's a little bit of inflation. But you can, since everything's steel in that car, you can mold that body to be any way you want in that car. You can make it anything you want. And, oh my god, you can make some of these cars beautiful. And what's nice is there's no emissions. You got safety only, so you can slap a big old honking motor in there.
And
make as much horsepower as you want, and you can, I mean, to me, right now, the time to buy classics is now.
Yeah.
They're very, very affordable if you work, if you work a decent job, or even not a decent job, even being able to save, you can buy some pretty badass classics right now. Now, obviously, you're not going to get something that's like, okay, this is owned by, like,
Steve McQueen or something?
Yeah, it's not. You're not going to get something like that. 'Cause, I mean, if it's a special order car for somebody, you're not going to pay $250,000. Because if you pay that much, you're just going to watch it sit. Like, what a lot. And that's one thing that bothers me. These people that buy these classic cars now, they complain about oil leaks. They don't understand that these cars, that was a thing. You had old paper-made gaskets for your oil pans. Everything would, give it you could throw a new oil pan on with a gasket.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a year later and the thing start leaking again.
Yeah.
People don't understand that the cars do that. Even our Nova race car, it still leaks a little bit on the rear main, but that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Every car will leak, no matter what.
Yep.
I don't care what people say.
Oh, we got the wheels on my car.
Oh yeah,
that's
right.
that's kind of new. That happened within the past 2 weeks. Car looks. I saw this sticker that had a Crown Vic silhouette on it. I don't remember where I found it, but it said Crew Cab Mustang, and I'm like, I thought the Mustang was a good nickname for the Crown Vic, but when I saw Crew Cab Mustang, I'm just like, that's pretty funny. Yeah, like, who came up with that one? Because that's literally what it is now. It has a 4.6 liter V8 in it and 4 doors, and it's rear wheel drive, and it has what looks like BBSs on it. The car looks like a 4-door Mustang.
It's definitely a really cool car.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about the Panther body. I don't care.
So modified.
I don't care what you say or anybody says. You can do anything to those cars. You can do any aspect of car to it.
There's a guy out there swapping a V12 Rolls Royce into his.
Yeah, with twin turbos. It's
a little insane. Twin turbos.
It's a little different, and it's not your average Rolls Royce motor out of a Rolls Royce. No, this is a
tank motor.
This is a Rolls Royce out of a tank.
This was a motor that was specifically designed for tanks, for a German tank.
There's actually a very
it was Rolls Royce is English.
Yeah,
so it was designed. It was designed for a British tank. Probably.
Now, what actually scares the shit out of me is that there was a company that had a 18-cylinder motor that they put in a Lincoln Town car out of a
I didn't even know.
I think it was the motor. They call it the Rolanetta, and it came out of a World War II bomber.
Jesus.
1,600 horsepower motor. NA. Not supercharged, nothing.
NA?
And
how many cylinders is it?
18. They put it in a Lincoln Town car. Let me tell you, Lincoln Town car is a long car.
It's
that
a
motor,
big car.
That motor, I kid you not, even though they cut about 1.5 foot back on the firewall, that fucking motor fit in there.
Are you talking what your town car?
60.
Oh, old.
Yeah, so
okay.
Big boat. No, not new. Not
I was about to say, if it was one of like the Panther body ones, I was about to say, oh my god, you'd have to cut the whole car.
This thing made. Oh my god. This thing, I just seen some pictures of it. Not recently. This was probably a good year ago. I don't know if the progress,
I didn't even know about that.
I don't know if the progress actually picked up on it or not. Unless I ran out of money.
For that engine, maybe.
Shit, to get a motor like that, fuck, what'd they do? Rob a World War II museum or something?
Yeah.
A very, very unique motor.
eBay. I'm being serious, dude. You can find some crazy
Yeah, what'd you do?
eBay.
Yeah, we went on Kijiji. Damn Canadians eat. We went on Kijiji.
Oh my god. When I first saw the Facebook, because I'm in a couple of different groups on Facebook, when I first saw that somebody was swapping in V12, like, I thought Cletus McFarlane's GT500 swapped Crown Vic was insane. And it is insane. The car absolutely rips, and it's a drift monster, and it will shred tires till the day it dies.
Yeah,
But when I saw somebody trying to put a V12 Rolls-Royce tank engine, emphasis on tank, I was like, Are you kidding me? like how far do we have to go until we find the limit for that specific generation car?
I think the day that somebody not only puts an airplane motor in a car, straps jet engines to it, nitrous, turbo, meth, you name it, everything, and they make a 10,000 horsepower car, that'll be the day that I sell everything I own and buy that.
It's
do
pretty funny.
I think somebody will make one? No, because 1, unsafe, 2, unsafe, 3, unsafe, 4, yeah, you get the rest. It would definitely be an interesting car for sure, but
yeah, and it kind of dives into the performance truck line, and I actually recently watched a video on Dodge's TRX, the Ram, and let me tell you, what was the competitor with the old gen Raptor? It was the Ram. Ram came out with like a rally stage truck. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it wasn't really that good. It didn't get much sales.
What the hell did they make?
They made a truck that competed with it.
What year are we talking again for the Raptor?
Like the first gen Raptors, the 2010.
Ooh, Dodge?
Dodge made a truck that was supposed to compete with it, but it didn't do well.
Dodge? Yeah, because I'm only thinking of the Power Wagon or the...
It was like a rally stage Ram 1500, really.
I can only think of the Power Wagon.
And so, basically what I'm trying to say is the Ram TRX is putting the new Raptor to shame, in my opinion. It comes with a 6.2, I can't remember off the top of my head because I don't remember that kind of stuff. But it's 700 horsepower in a truck. And it's funny because this was one of Doug's videos, and he even said, he goes, this is the new golden standard of performance trucks.
The thing is with these cars nowadays,
there's so much competition.
It's not only that, but I think it's with these car companies making sports cars and stuff. I think it goes like this. If your car doesn't make 500 horsepower or more, it's not acceptable.
No.
I'm sorry to say it, but nowadays in 2020 and now going on to 2021, to have a street car nowadays, now I'm talking back in the day, yeah, you got your Camaro, Firebird. Now I'm talking like back in, let's say 2008, 2009 era.
Yeah.
You got everybody just racing around this and that, and little freaking Ford Mustangs and shit. Having 450 horsepower back then was pretty fast. And then you got the people that make the 700-800 horsepower Mustangs, 1,000 horsepower cars. Those were the street rulers. Now you got some
and they still are.
Now, yes and no, but now you got some Joe Schmo that can take a Lamborghini or a GTR, slap $30,000 into it. Like for the Lamborghini, you can say you buy an 04 Lamborghini Gallardo, worst year that ever came out. Cool car though, I love one of my favorite years. That's one of my dream cars. Is the 08 Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera, and it has to be 6-speed manual. You take it, you get a twin turbo, say for $30,000, and you can make 1,200 horsepower. It just doesn't seem right that nowadays 1,200 horsepower is actually normal. Like even coming back from New York City on our one of my vacation trips, you look at, we were at that gas station. I sent you the video of Camaro. The guy just goes,
that thing's insane.
It was looking under the hood. I was like, oh, maybe it's just like a 350 swap or something. You know, from a 305. Beautiful old school Camaro RS. Had some really big meaty tires on it and stuff, and then sounded stock.
Yeah.
But you could hear the Lopi cams. So I was like, either that or maybe it's just LS swapped. Well, he opens the hood. The turbo's almost bigger than the motor. And I nearly shit bricks when he told me, yeah, it's a 6.0 iron block, all this bunch of crazy stuff done to it. I go, what does it make for power? I said, it's probably going to be like 750 or something, something moderate. No. He's filling up on E85 right there. I'm just like, okay, maybe 800. No, anything made almost 1,100 wheel horsepower. 1,000 and 1,500 horsepower.
Out of a 6.0, that's really good. You're making good numbers.
Stock bottom end. Besides all they did was they did bearings, gap the piston rings.
Yep.
Simple stuff that you could do in a motor. See, that's what a lot of people don't know in these performance or in these cars that come turbocharged. Like say if you take a Jetta, you take the pistons out, you gap the rings, and say you get a custom tune to actually turn up the boost. A little turbo, yeah. Now yes, they say it can max. Say if the max is 22 psi that turbo will go to. You can go more than that. It's not the turbo that's stopping you. I mean, sometimes it is, you know, because it's spinning so fast it heats up too quick.
And there's
for the oil
turbo lag. There's delay.
Yeah, but it's not even that. But it's not even the turbo that really restricts you. It's mostly your motor that restricts it. Your piston rings.
There's a lot of movement.
Yeah, and I'm saying when you make more boost, and I'm talking like if you're high up in horsepower.
There's a ton of movement.
Now,
and even playing your drive shaft and your rear end. There's play everywhere.
That's from just everything being worn and shit. But you know,
there's play everywhere though.
For the turbocharger, you know, say you do an aftermarket turbo, you make more boost. You're the best bet for everybody to do. Now, if you're gonna go for a high horsepower car, there's no reason to just slap a turbo on, call it a day, unless it's a junkyard LS or something. Because who cares what happens to a motor like that? I'm talking if you got a brand new 2020 Lamborghini Huracan that these people twin turbo. They don't do motor builds, and yes, with fine tuning, you can make the motor freaking use some crazy shit to it to make the motor last. But look at it this way: by the time you're doing a big high pull, so you're doing like a 200 mile an hour pull, by the time those piston rings start to close up and gap because it's getting so hot and stuff, the boost is going to overpressure it. It's going to slip.
It's going to blow up the motor.
It's going to blow the ring, and then you're just going to see the piston just take off, melt or take off.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that like 1,200 horsepower is really not that much horsepower now.
Even though when you
I would say 1,500 is the new
I'll put it
standard.
this way. Anybody that goes out to street racing, unless you're from Texas, because Texas 2,000 horsepower doesn't even seem acceptable anymore. If at least from us from New York.
East Coast, yeah.
Anybody, at least upstate for us, not even East Coast, I just say upstate New York in general, our area. To have 1,000 horsepower
you're out
here,
there
or any small town, it's still...
You're out
it's still like having a fast car back in 2008, 2009, or, you know, even if you have a 2,000 horsepower car here, now you're just like, now, and I'm talking for a street car, say you have a 2,000 horsepower twin turbo Lamborghini, now you just got like, holy shit, you know, now you're one of the fastest cars here. You're always going to have somebody faster, you got drag cars, you got all that crap.
Well, yeah.
But
drag cars are always going to be the
fastest. Drag cars will always be the fastest. They're
set up for literally blowing the doors off of anything.
Yeah, the drag car is mainly to go in a straight line now. It's not something that you could drive on the road.
Nope.
You could.
You could drive it around the block just to like tune it.
Now the people that do race week, that's cool stuff to me. Where they take their 3,000 horsepower. One of my favorite videos from
daily drive
Garrett 1320.
Yep, they take Leroy out and Ruby.
Yeah, but one of my favorite videos, and I'm thinking this was back in 2014 or 15. Was watching the Cletus go up to all the cars at Race Week and going, "Dying with a basketball-sized turbo," and it's just hilarious. That's one of the things that actually, honestly, started Race Week for me, and
I want to go to.
I think one of these years we're gonna end up going to Race Week and actually filming the whole thing, the whole process. You know, going track to track.
Yeah, I need to get a camera. Speaking on that, I'm actually.
I think what we're gonna do this year is also get a few GoPro setups. This way we can start getting some more car footage of both of our cars.
And this way, we'd be able to set up the podcast filming differently. We can.
Yeah, we can set different angles and stuff.
Like instead of this kind of angle, like. Next to each other.
You get angles from behind us, up and down.
Yeah, you can have somebody across the table from you and have a camera facing towards their face, and then have them facing towards my face.
I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up a camera that's above, a camera that's from behind, and a camera that's facing from here and here that's combined into a screen, and then we can play poker games with people, talk about cars, smoke cigars, drink some bourbon, stuff like that.
What was it the other day? I was looking at...
We can also, which I think is going to be really neat.
I'm probably going to go with a GoPro, just because they're a great camera.
Common camera,
and they're affordable. I'm not going to go out and buy like a $3,000 Canon or Sony camera that's like got all the bells and whistles that I don't even know how to use. Like, I'd have to hire a cameraman. part time to figure it out, and yeah, all these videos that are getting posted up are all done off my iPhone. It's not a bad way to do it because of the versatility with a phone, but you don't get the same crisp film than you do with a camera. Because the newer GoPros are actually like really, really good. They have a really, really good film rating, and they're more for action, I would say. A lot of people buy them more for outdoor use and recreation. But we're going to be using these, and sooner or later, after I don't need the GoPros, I hire a cameraman part-time to do this with us. We'll let him figure out, or he or she figure out what camera we should use, and we'll go from there. Because, not saying that I don't know computers and cameras and stuff, but like when it comes to like all the bells and whistles on those like crazy like $4,000 or $5,000 cameras, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Another thing, which now we're probably going to bring this up, is we're actually in the works of looking for a
place to do this.
Piece of shop space somewhere where we can actually make videos on working on car stuff. Now I've been a mechanic for 5 years now. Not calling myself the greatest, you know. I've definitely done my fair share of butcher shit and rigging shit. But when it comes down to having every part, having the tools, I mean, everything goes like watching a YouTube tutorial from a professional. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's really cool, and I think it's gonna be something cool I can share with everybody. You know, it's not even just gonna be working on the BMW. I'm talking about working on everything, even if it's throwing front pads and rotors on my little Ford Focus. Yeah. Or stuff like that. Now, yeah, we're gonna
people's car detailing.
We're gonna
do all the whole nine yards.
I won't get too much into our little chafé yet, but needless to say, there's gonna be some cool and interesting things that are gonna come out. Just keep an eye out for the shop space. It's not gonna happen this year.
No,
we're probably looking more towards the 2022 side or late 2021. Yeah, we're probably looking. Probably looking around there. We're just looking for a space that we could fit. One that could be massive for us. Something that's affordable. Somewhere I can store cars. Something that's close to home.
Some place where I can actually have an office space.
Yes, having an office space would be really nice. Plus,
I have a computer that's taking up a lot
starting this, we'll put a few lifts in there for cars and stuff. We're gonna have car meets there.
Yeah. Nothing big, but.
You know, minus the COVID stuff. Now, which we're hoping by then, since these vaccines or whatever they have now, whatever, is coming out, we're hoping by then that we can bring back some of the car meet footage for you guys.
Yeah.
Or at least start bringing some of the car meet. Now, going in the winter, there's absolutely nothing.
No, there's nothing.
Junk crap.
Heaters.
Yeah.
One thing that I would love to do a series on is kind of like what Rob and Matt Farah did. Was the Sorted or Not?
Yeah, that was a really
cool series.
I would love to review a lot of people's cars and actually get people on the channel, get people in the podcast to talk about their stuff. Like, say, and this is up to you guys if you want that too, where we get people on, where we do a review on their car. If they can make it on the podcast, we'll have them on the podcast. We'll talk about what's done to the car, what their plans are, stuff like that.
And stories about their cars that they had previously, and that's what they did to them.
And that's the thing about that is, like you just said, the stories. We can kind of break down and see what people did to get their cars. Why there was their dream car, why they chose that as a car, and why it is what it is today. And I think that's really cool. And it's one of those backstories that goes down to even breaking it down as far as something that's emotional and emotionally attached to it.
Yeah, you get attached to stuff.
Even like for me. Now, yeah, I love my BMW. Am I attached to it? Yeah, not really. If something happens to it, I'm not going to be the biggest upset person in the world. At the end of the day, it's just a car. Now, if it was something like the Audi RS2 Avant, I would probably be a little bit upset more. I mean, honestly, anybody would be upset if their car got hit or something, or something happened to their car. And
you have every right to be.
I can understand that, but at the end of the day, they're just pieces of metal. To us, they're just metal. You can replace cars, you can't replace people. And that's what I try to explain to a lot of people oh, my car, this and that, it's total. You don't understand. Whether it's your fault or not, and whether
you should be grateful that you're alive.
Yeah. Whether the accident was bad or not, even if it's just a little fender bender or whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless or not, even if, and I'm just saying this, if you work, you have credit, not the greatest, you don't need the greatest credit to get anything. Say you work, you are an honest living person, you can own something pretty nice, or even pretty above average. Anybody can, even a new Audi S3, something like that, just something above, a nice luxury car, or even if you just want to go old school, let's say a 1980 Chevy Camaro, something that's only got 40,000 original miles on it. You know, you don't need,
expensive car.
it's still an expensive car, you don't need anything crazy, but, I don't know, I feel like anybody can get anything.
Yeah.
Like, I got a friend, she freaked out, she's like, oh my god, I got rear-ended, this and that. She's like, so, I mean, yeah, you're going to miss the car if you really, truly love that car driving it. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
You know, but...
I just drive the Lexus a lot, and I'm going to own another LS430 at some point.
And I think that's the thing. Now, I get it if it's...
the best car in the world.
I get it if it's a car that's like a Lamborghini and it gets hit and it's not repairable.
Sucks.
Or say you crash it and it's like, shit, can't repair the car. I get that. Say if it's something that you worked your ass off for and you absolutely wrecked it. Yes, it's a big expense, but look at it this way. With the amount of money that you make back in Pardo, all the other cars that you worked your way to get up there, you think of those memories and you think of, holy shit, I've got this money now. I could buy one of those old cars, make it just as fast, if not faster, than a Lamborghini. Yeah. You know, and I think that's what's really cool about buying a high-end car, is that when you sell it, say you don't want anything crazy next, you buy what you used to have, and they just put money into it. You make it a super cool car. And I think that's something that really is an eye-catcher and astonishes me. Like, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, and actually, kind of going into that, my dad and I, we, over the summer, you know what we have, we bought, this isn't car, this is aquatic, we bought a 2000 and, wow, I'm trying to jostle my mind around, I think it's 2004 or 5, Yamaha Wave Runner, GP. Oh god, I can't remember the actual name of it off the top of my head because I know aquatic vehicles pretty well, but it's put away and we didn't get to use it that much this year because of some engine issues, but we want to get it fixed. And we want to sell it, and my dad and I agree, we're just like, why don't we just get an old truck? Like something like old C10, old F100, old D150.
Old project truck. And
I really kind of convinced him to get a first-gen Cummins. I'm like, you realize how much fun those trucks are? They're all mechanical. Every single piece about that, except for the electrical harness,
is mechanical. And that's why I like doing the old project stuff too, because one...
It's so easy to work on.
Say you buy an older Gen 3 or Gen 4 Firebird Camaro. Now Gen 4 is obviously more electrical, but say you buy a Gen 3 or Gen 2 Firebird. It's so easy to be able to throw a motor in, make the car run, make everything work with it. You could do an MSD ignition box, wire it in. You could do fancy dash with a Haltech ECU, a Holley Dominator, stuff like that. Anything like that, and you can make some crazy shit. And I think stuff like that really intrigues me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the little projects like that once you get it running, then it's like, okay, now I can change it. Now you take the motor back out, you throw heads, cam, you make that frickin' motor thump. You make that thing got a world frickin' chopping, lopping cam, man. And, like,
you make a lot of power.
I find that one of the coolest things. It's not even about the power. It's about the sound. It's about having the car, the looks, stuff like that. Yep. At least for me, the old school cars, I think what a lot of people misunderstood, and like I was saying, with the oil stuff earlier, with the leaking, not only potential, but the problem with these, and I'm not calling out the older generation, but a lot of these older people, now yeah, I get it, you want to own a nice car, or say it was your first piece that you've ever owned, you got to get out and just drive it. And I'm not talking about putting tens of thousands of miles on it. I'm talking, if you take it out every weekend and you put 5 miles on it, if you put 5 to 10 miles on it, that car will last forever. You let it sit in the garage,
it's not gonna
you're gonna have mice. You're gonna have everything. Now, unless your garage is like above ground and you're crazy.
You have like a really modern. Even if you have a really modern house, mice are still gonna get in. Like
yeah, and I think that's what people don't understand is that the car is meant to be driven. Drive it. Don't just let it sit.
No, you can't let it sit. But yeah, I've been really cruising around trying to look for the perfect, not like project truck, because whatever we want to get, we want it running. I don't want to get a roller truck and have to put money into it and put a motor and drivetrain into it. Both him and I agree that it has to be a running and driving and street-worthy vehicle. But body-wise and modification-wise is kind of out the window. It's kind of just like out there because I have some background knowledge in both of us. We have background knowledge in the mechanical aspect and the body aspect of cars, and we could whip something up and make it a nice truck. And I've been looking at the little short bed flare sides and stuff like that, and actually on, I think it was the second podcast when he was on there, he mentioned that one of his dream trucks, or dream vehicles to build, is to take an old, like, 60s or 70s International Harvester pickup body and put it on a full frame truck, like a newer full frame. It's really, really cool. The inspiration behind that.
It's something that's not hard to do, but it's a lot of custom modifying, for the cab mounts and stuff. But on a frame, since you have adjusted down to a bare frame, you can cut, you can weld, you can make anything happen with that frame. You can shorten the frame, you can, you can do anything. And I find that really cool with older project trucks like that. Compared to the newer cars, like, cool, you can throw a body kit on, but you can't cut the frame. It's unibody. You want to cut the unibody out of it? Like, I think one thing that amazed me is Rob Dom's 4-rotor. Car was a complete unibody car. That guy redesigned it with a tubular frame, tubular cage, everything. And it absolutely amazes the living shit out of me that a guy that literally went from knowing nothing, literally didn't know how to even bend pipe, nothing, went to having even a team with his buddy, I think his name's Abel, unless that's just his name. Where they learned to teach themselves how to weld. They got CNC machines, and it absolutely amazes me that going from nothing
to something
like that, and doing it yourself, saying that it was your project, your stuff, you made it work. I mean, look, he's got GTR drivetrain, he's got a bunch of crazy shit in it. I think it's the factor that you did it yourself is so cool. And don't get me wrong, if you take it to the shop because you feel uncomfortable doing it, it's not a bad thing. And if you're at the shop, now minus the COVID restrictions, if you could be there and watch the process or have somebody do a time lapse on it, it's one of your best learning suits to actually get in there, either watch it as it's being done, or get in there and rent the damn guy. The only way to learn is really being hands-on.
Yeah.
And
it's the only way you're really going to learn. You can learn from videos, but you have to be the physical part.
And I think it's really cool just watching Rob's progress. Yeah. I mean, I watch every single video that comes out, and every video, it's something new. It just freaking amazes me. Like the way they did for the drive shaft, where it's three cage rings, and I don't know how Rob isn't scared shitless when he drives that thing. He was driving it one time. He goes to do a launch. He gets right into the power, and you see the drive shaft just explode. And now his race opponent that he actually just said he was racing was the Hoonigan.
Seriously?
Yeah, Ken Block car, and he actually missed the two things because of setbacks. One was I forgot what the first one setback was, but I remember the second one. The drive shaft shit itself. Now he's got till December 16th or the 19th to be ready for that race, and that's all in. I really hope Rob can make it to that race because one, that 4-rotor is going to fucking eat. It's literally the Hoonicorn car. The Hoonicorn car isn't butchered and put together.
That thing's put together.
But I gotta say, I think the 4-rotor has a lot more technology and a lot more potential in. How can I say this in the most Rob Dom way? More Ugga is behind it. I think it's really cool that Rob actually, like I said, I really find it really cool that Rob did everything himself with his few other helpers, and they came up with a car that shouldn't have ever been made.
No.
I mean, all-wheel drive, 4-rotor.
Not saying that it shouldn't. Didn't expect it.
Yeah. No, I don't mean it in that way. I mean in a car that you just wouldn't think, like...
No.
that would ever be possible.
Yeah.
He designed everything
crazy.
for it. I mean, to be able to design your own car, design aerodynamics, stuff like that, it's
same with the rotary swap Corvette.
Yes, that's actually really cool.
That thing's really different.
One thing that actually amazes the shit out of me with Rob is his car. He said that, oh, I have a lot of money, and when I was thinking a lot of money at the time, I was just like, okay, maybe he's got like 90 to 100 grand invested. Nope. If you actually look at all his previous build stuff and you see the stuff he's using, the top grade everything, you know, aluminum and everything, you go through and you look at it. I mean, at the end of the day, Rob, with everything, even being, you know, having the sponsors, which he still buys their buy-paid products, you know, he's still over half $500,000 into it. I mean,
that's insane.
For a car like that, it's one of those things where you drive it, enjoy it, but to me, to have that much money invested, and don't get me wrong, with all the sponsors and help he had, it is so much money that it's just like, is it even worth it? I mean, to me, it would be. Like, if I had the same followership and everything, and I had the same, you know, mentality and same build aspects, you know, if I had that same mentality and everything, I would go through and do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's just scary that, and don't get me wrong, they're doing great on the safety part, trying to be as safe as possible, but making it efficient. And I think Rob's done a freaking absolutely fantastic job on that. But I think one thing that Rob, and Rob can drive too. That mother effer can drive.
He's like Cletus. Cletus knows how to drive.
Yeah, he just puts his foot to the floor and goes.
Yep.
I remember watching his Lamborghini Diablo video, and it was the first time he ever took it to the track, didn't know how to drive stick shift. And it was absolutely hilarious watching him get beat by his brother's GTR. But I'm really, really happy to see that Rob has taught himself over time and built some pretty badass FDs. But like I said, with how much money that's into that car, number one is safety, but number two is like, if the car gets squirrely, pretty sure Rob would be the one to let out. But I don't know, man. And for a car like that, that's a little intense.
It is intense. Yeah, and it kind of goes into the aspect, it's not really that similar, but I can relate it to this, but like, it has nothing to do with cars. Like, I was going back to the jet ski, we had problems with the engine, and under further inspection, power valves were put on wrong by the previous owner, and due to that, apparently when we bought this, the top end had been rebuilt on it, but it was, like I said, under further inspection. We started having throttle issues out on the water with it, and basically what ended up happening is we took it apart a bunch of times, and we took it back out to see if it was doing better, and it wasn't doing better, so we finally got it out of the water and took it to there's a local guy in our area that does a lot of two-stroke work, and he's really, really, really good. And like I said, under further inspection, the power valves were put in upside down. I don't even know how that works. And apparently one of the piston walls was scored. And I mean, that'll screw up a lot of stuff if you don't catch it right.
You gotta rehone
and
do a lot.
So the block was sent out to go get rehoned, and we got new pistons for it, new rods and piston rings and stuff like that. And we got new power valves for it, and a bunch of new stuff. And it's funny because like my dad knows a little bit about two strokes because he used to build like go-karts and dirt bikes when he was a kid, but not like that kind of two-stroke. And let me tell you, when we bought this thing, it was running really, really well. And we took it out on the water. I mean, this is the most powerful thing I have ever been on water. Under my own supervision. I was driving this thing. Take that back. It's not the most powerful thing I've been on water. It's the most powerful thing that I have personally driven on water. I had it up to 70 miles an hour on Honeyway Lake, which if people know who watch this, Honeoye Lake is not very big, and it's not very wide, and it's a very shallow. It's one of the smallest Finger Lakes. I got from halfway across the lake, I had it pinned, just flat out going. I wasn't even paying attention to what speed I was going. I just wanted to see how fast I could get it until I felt like, yeah, enough is enough. And I made it from the halfway point of the lake to the southern end of the lake in, I want to say, under 5 minutes. That's really, really fast. And it's crazy because we were with the mechanic that's helping us work on it right now, and the amount of skill set that the guy has is insane. And just from watching him do a couple things, you can like really put your mind to it. And he even told us, he's like, you really don't need a whole lot of like knowledge on it. As long as you have some basic engine knowledge and how an engine works, you can rebuild one of those things pretty easily, and for not really that cheap. It's for our specific model that we have, but for like a 4-stroke, you can probably rebuild them for pretty cheap. But the 2-stroke is it's a 3-cylinder. I can't remember how much horse. I think it makes 180 horsepower, which is a lot for a jet ski for that particular one. And it's funny because I did more research on it. They specifically made those jet skis for racing. When they came out from the factory, that was supposed to be a performance jet ski that was meant pretty much to race because it was a 2-stroke, and that's what a lot of guys run in jet ski racing. And I'd like to have it on the water again, but it's kind of become an expense that we really don't want anymore, so I think we're going to fix it and sell it and get something different to mess around with. But yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to get back into some motocross stuff, but honestly, I don't know. One thing for me, I've always been a car person, so it's always got to be car stuff for me. And, don't get me wrong, all the other stuff intrigues me.
It's cool.
But I think getting into the rally cross aspect, doing like rally driving.
I want to do the Gambler 500 at one point.
I think what we got to do, and it eventually make its way onto this podcast/YouTube channel, we're going to compete in the Gambler 500. We're going to find some sort of vehicle, whether something that we both agree on, or if it's something that we just both see and we're just like...
we both get a car.
Either that, or if it's something that we both see and we're just like...
Yes.
Yes. We don't care what it is.
We're getting it.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be the safest thing in the world, but as long as it runs, drives, and can climb, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think one of my first choices would be like an XJ or something like that.
Yeah.
Just because you could beat or like a RAV4 or a Land Cruiser or something.
I think like a 2011 RAV4, just something different. You put Baja everything, it would just be a shit show. It would be such a fun.
Did you see the one guy that took the Mercedes 560 SL diesel on a Gambler fight? He lifted it. How do you lift a car like that that's got old suspension like that? It's an old car.
Big springs and lots of blocks.
You put motor tires on.
Very, very unique what some of these Gambler people come up with. And
a lot of people do Crown Vics, believe it or not, because they're such a reliable vehicle. And you can modify anything about them. And you can get them for so cheap that people... And when we say Gambler 500, the 500 part is supposed to stand for $500 that you get the car for. But a lot of people don't... You don't necessarily have to follow the rules to a certain extent.
No,
because
anybody...
if you get a $500 car, there is a lot of stuff wrong with it. Or somebody really doesn't want it.
The whole Gambler 500 is if you can get a car for $500 or under, the gambler part is... you're gonna struggle and it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it fun about
basically an off-road. It's an off-road, on-road.
It's one of those. Cross. It's one of those things. Wherever you do a Gambler 500, I believe every state has it. I don't know if
ours is up in the Adirondacks.
Yes, and now Adirondack roads are
they're interesting.
I tell you, they're quite a.
They're a hike.
Quite the interest of a road. I would be interested to see if a $500 car's transmission can handle it. But it's stuff like that. The only thing that's hard with being in New York is having a New York State inspection when you register the vehicle.
Yep.
Obviously, as a Gambler vehicle, it's got to be a registered motor vehicle.
Because you're on road sometimes.
Unless you're in an off-road use, which who the hell does that? We're not like that. You drive a car that you can own and have legally on the road. Well, I wouldn't say legally, but on the road. It's something like that really, that's something I want to do. Because say if the car just taking a shit, you're with a bunch of gamblers. They say they had, now the big gambler race, I forgot where they do it. I think it's actually in Oregon. And,
yeah, that's like one of the really popular ones.
That's the big main...
That's where it started, I think.
Yeah, that's the big main Gambler 500 itself.
They have one in Washington that's very similar.
Actually, Washington's Washington's the first biggest. Oregon's the second. Same states, pretty much. I mean, look at the off-road terrain that they have there. You know, they're up in the mountain and everything. Mm-hmm. But if you look at their states, they don't have state inspection.
No.
They don't have any of that. You register the vehicle and you go.
Yep.
They've got thousands of people that do it, and it's
gets really interesting.
It's just hilarious because when they get everybody together in one meet and they go at it, if somebody's car takes a shit, all they do is they dump it off to the side of the road, pull the tags, take your belongings, hop in another gambler's car, and then when their car does the same thing, you keep going.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
it's like playing a game of hot potato with a bunch of beater cars.
Yes, and it is absolutely amazing.
I can't believe I just came up with that. That came like right out of my head. I'm like, that's exactly what it is. it's a bunch of like between the ages of like 18 and 30 to 40-year-olds in a bunch of cars that are worth probably, I would say, like $900 to $2,500 bucks. And you're modifying them to prepare for the race, and you're going through the back country.
But I think what a lot of people do is it's the ingenuity that these people come up with.
Yeah.
Some of
these cars, people slap turbos on them.
Yes, and now
that takes time.
I think for the Gambler 500, buying the car for under or $500 is your goal. But
yeah,
the upgrades.
Get one for $1,000. Get one for $1,000.
The upgrades and modifications are unlimited.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you're going to go down to the advanced auto. You're going to buy rattle cans of paint. You're going to buy everything else. And don't get me wrong, some of these Gambler people take their time.
Yeah.
They make them look. They make these cars look really cool and stuff.
One of the coolest ones I saw was a Jeep Wagoneer, which I don't even think that would be a really good choice because they're heavy, and you can get stuck very easily with those trucks because yes, they're 4-wheel drive, but they're heavy. You need the right tires and you need the right suspension to really make the Wagoneer a off-road vehicle.
one car I seen in particular on there was how was it? It was some sort of all-wheel drive vehicle, and
I saw somebody took a Suzuki X90 on that. That would be the perfect car.
It was a Geo Tracker. They did the opposite. Instead of lifting it, they lowered it. They cut the fenders off and lowered it so much that the tires came past the roof. And they took it on the Gambler, and it did better than 90% of the cars.
That's funny.
Even though the car was sitting literally probably about a good. No, yeah, we say lower. Everybody's just like, oh, it's probably only sitting like 3 or 4 inches. No, it was still 10 inches, but the tires were like 37s, 38s that were meant to be on a big ass truck.
Yep.
And they made it work with that. I mean, I find it cool when they actually had an inside picture when you're driving.
Yeah.
Tires you can't see side by side. You can only see straight.
There was a guy that made a Honda, did a Baja tan Honda Del Sol.
I think
with 37-inch tires. I'm like, how do you even fit something like that?
I think a great vehicle to start with for a Gambler is a Honda Ridgeline.
Or a Pilot. Older Pilot or
a Honda
or Passport.
Or Honda Ridgeline or Passport.
If you can find one.
1, all-wheel drive. 2, they're a Honda, so who gives a shit?
And I mean, it would be
any car, you could beat the shit out of. A Honda, I mean, think about it. You go online, it's the same motor out of the people that do cars with, let's put a turbo kit.
Yeah.
Think about it. You can buy a turbo kit, you buy the ECU for the car, you can eBay turbo kit an entire Honda Civic for under $1,000, make 450 horsepower, make one of the most badass off-roaders in the world. Who cares if it's automatic or manual?
I would do auto, just because it's simpler.
Yeah, now obviously
manual, you're going to have more control on the road.
For manual, I would pick manual 1. Wherever I am, I don't care what it is, I'm dumping the clutch.
Oh, yeah.
That's the point in a Gambler rally. You have fun while you do it. Whether you crash into other people, or you crash
people don't care if you crash into each other.
Or you just crash into the tree.
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd dump the clutch everywhere.
Yeah.
We could be sitting at the old monument. Oh, what's Anthony doing? Damn it, he dumped the clutch again.
I would actually, I think some of like my top 5 would be oh god, I gotta think here. I would probably either pick a 4Runner, because 4Runners are like the miniature Land Cruiser. They're really reliable and they do great off-road. And you can get them for relatively cheap. Yeah, Toyota, like, I see 4Runners on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. They have, like, god-awful amounts of miles on them, and people still want $5 or $6 grand for them. I'm just like, no, that's not how this works. Yes, they hold their value very well, but if the body is basically rusting off the frame, I'm not paying $5,000 for it.
No.
And I think another one would be... like I said, a Jeep XJ. I would probably want to get like a 2-door 5-speed manual if I had to find one. They didn't make very many of them, but if I can get my hands on any XJ, really, I would bring it out there. And or to be really different, I would probably go like 1990s generation OBS Chevy, just because you can. Those trucks are so unbeatable. That truck will be here until the world blows up or something. And even after that, you're still going to find remnants of the damn thing laying around. Because those trucks have stood and tested time. Like, they really have. And, like, some of those trucks have over 500,000 miles on them with basic maintenance. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, and half of them are farm trucks and oil rig trucks.
And actually,
stuff like that.
well, this podcast coming to an end here.
Yeah. We're getting on an hour and 30 here. Which I'd like to keep it under.
Roughly around there. Getting on towards the end of this,
I didn't even finish this.
We don't know what your guys' suggestions are, what we should kind of go for next. Now, we're going to start filming some project stuff here quite soon, just because we need to. I mean, we've got plenty of content ideas and content to shoot.
One thing I want to ask people to let us know is, like, what topics we should talk about. Not saying that we're running out of content or topics to talk about, but, like, I kind of see, like, a continuing of how we start these is really just talking about, like, videos that we've seen and stuff like that. I'd like to get different people on here to have more opinions, and yeah, it's going to be kind of hard with COVID because I don't have a space. Not saying I don't have a space to do this. I don't have my own space to do this, and I'm basically rolling with the punches here, and I'm trying to figure it out as I go on. And as this progresses to become a bigger thing, and I'd like to see what people can come up with and topics that we should talk about, just to keep rolling with this and to keep different videos more interesting. Yeah, we really want to, bring a lot of what we show, our car scene and stuff like that, and what we do on our daily basis. I mean, we can even show some work stuff too, little things here and there. But, it's stuff like that just really interests me. And, it does.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I think it's going to be an interesting time this upcoming spring, so.
Oh, yeah. Stay tuned.
I'll see you guys later. Stay tuned.